Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm joined by Sarah Heeley, who is an expert freelance copywriter. Hi Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Hi Catherine, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you all.
Could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a freelance content writer. I write for websites, print and social media. I work a lot with marketing agencies and also directly with business owners as well. So one week I can be writing about farming and agriculture. The next week it could be, I don't know, accounting, then yoga and well-being. So you might describe me as the voice behind the brands. So I'm the person in the back room making sure that those business messages come over loud and clear and in a way that people respond to.
Excellent. And what would be your top tips for the businesses who are on here, who are typically small companies, who want to be able to convey who they are, what they stand for, what they care about? What would you advise them to do?
Well, it's such a crucial thing. Getting your point across clearly and concisely is so important now more than ever, because there's so much noise, isn't there, out in the big wide world and on the internet. So I'd like to focus on 3 top tips just for the purpose of this video. Firstly, being authentic. Nowadays, oh my gosh, how important is it? Because people want to do, I know it's a cliche, but people want to do business with people. Let's do that again because I'm losing my voice.
Let me get some water.
Let me have some tea. Swig of tea. Okay.
So top tips, authenticity.
So authenticity at the moment, my gosh, how important is that? Because I know it's a cliche, but people want to do business with people. And I don't know about you, but if I'm kind of browsing around on Facebook or Instagram, Pinterest, whatever, and I see messaging that sounds a little bit discordant, you can tell straight away. Even if you don't realize you can tell, you can really tell. So first top tip is write like you talk. So if you're the business owner and it's just you've not got the luxury of a marketing manager, it's just you, it's just down to you to get your message across. Write like you talk. And there's a really good tip that I use for me, because remember, I promote myself as well, so I have to practice what I preach. Imagine that say you're writing a social media post or even a blog for your business. Imagine you're leaving that as an answer phone message for someone. So if you read your social media post out, imagine your best friend, okay? Imagine your best friend in the world. Imagine leaving them a voicemail message that has the blog post or the social media post content. So imagine leaving that as an answer phone message. If they played that answer phone message back and thought, that does not sound like Catherine. What's happened to Catherine? She sounds like a robot. If it would work as an answer phone message to your best friend, that's a really good litmus test of whether you're coming across as your authentic self. So it sounds probably oversimple, but it is the key to coming across clearly, confidently, and as you. So, use language that you'd normally use in everyday conversation. Use slang. If you're the kind of person that says, oh, wang it over to me in an email, then write that in your post, get in touch, wang me over an email, because that's something that you would say in real life. So I think when we think about copywriting, writing for business, we get all wrapped up in we've got to write a certain way to look professional, to sound credible. The most credible thing these days is being authentic, is coming across as your authentic self. And that really resonates with your audience, and people respond to that if you've got that warmth and authenticity. So remember that, write like you talk. If you've written a social media post, imagine leaving that as an answer phone message. And if your dearest friend in the whole wide world would listen to that message and think, yeah, that sounds just like our Catherine, then you're probably on the right track. So write like you talk.
Love it. Love it.
Did that make sense?
It did. It did. What's tip 2?
Tip 2 is, this sounds painful, contractions. Use contractions. Now, this doesn't work in every scenario, but usually, especially for blogging and social media, perhaps not so much if you're creating a quite in-depth brochure or portfolio or case study, but for more your social media and blogging, using contractions is really helpful. So contractions are, you would use, instead of I have, you would shorten it to I've, or we have becomes we've, we are becomes we're. So that's using contractions. So you're shortening, bringing the words together using the apostrophe. So if you were launching a new website for your company, you wouldn't walk into a networking group and say, we have launched our new website, we are thrilled about it. You'd say, we've launched our new website, we can't wait to show you. Do you know what I mean? So that's what that contractions just tighten up the language. They make it warm, engaging, and more conversational. So, you know, again, it comes back to that thing of write like you talk. So use contractions. So I have becomes I've, we have becomes we've. Just shrink them a little bit, and it just becomes a bit more palatable for people.
Love it. Why does that work?
Because it's more conversational, it's more real. Like I say, you in everyday language, you wouldn't say, you know, have you got, if somebody said, have you got a dog? You'd say, yeah, I've got a dog. You wouldn't say, yes, I have got a dog, would you? So it's just,
okay, yeah.
That makes sense. So it's making it more conversational.
Perfect. And what's tip 3?
Tip 3 is super important. Know your audience. So I'll do that again as the intro. So tip 3 is super important. Know your audience. Okay, know your audience. What are their, who, and how do you know your audience? Okay, well, think about the people who buy from you regularly. You've probably got a trend or a theme that comes up time and time again, a type of person. So without excluding anyone, you're not going to be excluding anybody by focusing on one ideal customer. Okay, so know your audience. What are their hopes and dreams? What are their fears? What are the problems? What are their problems that your product or service is solving? What are the barriers to them buying from you or using your service? Where do they live? Where do they hang out? What TV programs do they watch? What blogs do they read? What magazines do they order? You've got to know all that. You've got to build a really clear picture, because it's only then that you can tailor your language precisely to that person. So I do an exercise called, it's a wonderful thing that was from Marie Forleo's Copy Cure course. And it's something that I use time and time again, and it's called the ICA, Ideal Customer Avatar. And you literally build up a picture of your ideal customer, and it goes through everything from what's their name, have they got children, what do they do at the weekends, you know, every single detail. And even if you don't know, you can build a profile up based on the things that you do know. So if it were me, you know, my ideal customer, based on the customers that I have, is probably either a marketing manager or a director of a marketing agency. So if I'm pitching promotion for my business, I'm going to tailor my language directly to that person. And what happens when you get so clear about that one ideal customer is your language is unmistakably clear. It resonates so directly with that customer, they are going to be climbing the walls to buy from you, because you're speaking to them. You're speaking to that one person. Now, when you do that, a lot of my clients go, oh, yes, well, Fred buys from us, but so does Mary and so does Sandra. Doesn't matter. By speaking to Fred, you're not going to be excluding Mary or Sandra. You're just going to be creating such a clear, unmistakable message that Mary and Sandra, by default, they won't be able to help gravitating towards you, because your message is so clear and so resonant.
Fantastic.
So it can cause a bit of nervousness, or we don't want to exclude anyone, don't want to miss any potential customers. You won't. They will come to you by accident almost, because your message to that one ICA, that one ideal customer, will be so strong that they'll just be like drawn to you like moths to a flame, because your message will be so confident and so clear. So they'll be like, well, I want what he's having. So kind of they come to you by accident. So it takes a bit of guts to really hone in on that one ideal customer. But even if you don't go that far, just knowing your audience, really looking into, and this can go back to your market research, your feedback forms, your survey monkeys that you might send out to customers past and present. The more information you can glean about your market, the clearer your language is going to become. And one of my favorite things to do is to use the customer's voice back at them. So you'll have trends, like one of my slogans is put the wow in your words for my business. And that came from a client who emailed me saying, Sarah, I've got a press release to write. Can you put the wow in my words? And she gave me my strap line. So listen to what your customers are saying to you, because that can often give you clues as to what your marketing promotion needs to be saying. So they do the work for you in a way, but you've got to listen. You've got to listen to what they're saying. So know your audience.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. That's brilliant. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Good luck, everybody. Take care.